Fatherhood shaped him more than any royal title ever could. In a rare moment of reflection, he said, "Becoming a dad changes everything. The highs are incredible, but the lows really test you. You're not the same man anymore, and that's a gift." He called George a cheeky little rascal who keeps him on his toes. "Yeah, he's a little rascal, let's put it that way. He either reminds me of my brother or of me when I was younger. I'm not sure which." As for Charlotte, she's the heart of our home. But even in the joy, shadows remained. In a BBC interview, when asked about his fears, William paused. "Having kids," he said seriously, "makes you think a lot more about the kind of world you're leaving behind." He wanted their lives grounded in what really matters, not prestige or appearances, but values. "I don't want them chasing things that don't matter," he said. "The world already puts too much importance on the wrong stuff. I want them to know what really counts." And he teaches them, not with lectures but by example. Cleaning out the pet cages together, playing barefoot soccer in the backyard, telling bedtime stories in silly voices, laughing until their stomachs hurt, being there when words fail, always showing up. When asked which role meant the most to him, William's answer was immediate. Not king, not prince, but dad. Many might have expected a grander reply, but he knew the crown meant nothing without the people he loved beneath it. That morning, as he took George's hand and stepped into the unknown, he wasn't the Duke of Cambridge. He was a father, a calm presence, a steady foundation, and in George's eyes, he became something far beyond royalty. He became his hero. No headline or photograph could capture that quiet moment, but between a father's steady hand and a child's searching gaze lay a legacy no crown could define. So, what does news of a fourth child mean for the royal family? Keep watching to find out. A royal hope began quietly, just a whisper. No formal announcement, no flashing cameras, just a gentle ripple over tea tables, a soft murmur echoing through the gilded halls of Buckingham Palace. "Did you hear?" someone asked near Kensington's gates. "No, what is it?" "She's pregnant again." That was all it took to spark excitement. By noon, hearts worldwide were bursting with joy. Catherine, Princess of Wales, was reportedly expecting her fourth child. The news didn't come with breaking headlines or urgent alerts. Instead, it floated softly, like golden morning light, through whispers, private texts, and buzzing online threads. "She always shines," a fan tweeted, "but this glow is different." It had been an unusual year. By mid-2025, the royal family had already faced its share of storms, unspoken tensions, postponed appearances, and candid moments caught by eager cameras. Observers speculated and scrutinized, but this was untouched happiness, a rare spark. At a recent school event in Norfolk, subtle signs had already fueled rumors. The way William stayed just a step closer than usual, how Catherine's hand lingered on her coat a beat longer. Her smile was softer, not forced or formal, but genuine, as if she carried a secret too precious to share. "Is the rumor true?" a reporter asked a palace aide near the gates. The aide said nothing, only smiled knowingly. Then came the official confirmation. Quiet, but powerful. "The Prince and Princess of Wales are pleased to announce they are expecting their fourth child," the statement read. That was it. No reveal, no timeline, no health updates. But those few words set the internet on fire. "She'll be an amazing mother of 4, one commenter wrote on a fan page. "Her love grows with every child." Questions bloomed across tabloids and Twitter alike. Another boy to join Louis and all the royal mischief? Or a sister for Charlotte, someone to share secrets and braid ribbons in her hair? But the palace stayed silent. No hints, no clues. Only the king and queen spoke, simply saying, "We are thrilled. Every child is a blessing." Days later, William was spotted at a public service event, his joy impossible to hide. "She's doing well," he said softly. "How's the princess?" someone asked. "She's really doing well, thanks. Hopefully she's watching tonight and cheering me on. She's been amazing all year, and I know she'd want tonight to be a success. We're deeply grateful." That was all the world needed. A flicker of hope had returned, not through headlines or grand announcements, but in the quiet stirrings of new life waiting to bloom. Sometimes, the most meaningful beginnings come in silence. But this wasn't the end. Even amid all the pressure, a heartfelt gesture from Kate caught the public's attention once again, something the cameras almost missed. That June afternoon, the sun peeked through scattered clouds, casting a warm, golden glow over Buckingham Palace's stone facade. The air in London felt thick with anticipation, as if the whole city was holding its breath. This was no ordinary event. It marked the royal family's first time together on the palace balcony since trooping the color in summer 2023. Among the royals, all dressed in formal elegance, one figure seemed to shine differently: the Princess of Wales. Standing beside Prince William, she was as poised as ever, her smile calm yet gentle. But behind that composed exterior was a well of quiet strength and untold struggles. Her appearance was more than just ceremonial. It was a symbolic comeback after months of personal challenges. As the crowd erupted in applause and cameras clicked rapidly, a nearly invisible moment passed between her and William. It was so subtle that many might have missed it, but those paying close attention saw everything. William briefly turned his head, his eyes meeting hers, and something changed in her expression. Her smile, once soft, blossomed into a warmer, more radiant and intimate one, as if that single glance rekindled an unspoken bond. "That wasn't just a smile," said Noor Hibbert, a body language expert. "It told the story of everything they'd been through: pain, hope, connection." When she looked at him, her entire face softened. That's not royal protocol. That's love. Veteran royal photographer James Watling captured the moment perfectly. She looked at him, and you could see the change in her expression. It was genuine, nothing staged. That single photo tells a whole story: a return, a reunion, a testament to resilience. The image quickly spread across newspapers and social media. But for those who knew the couple's recent journey, it was far more than just grace and elegance. It was a symbol of endurance. Just days later, another photo touched hearts in a very different way. On Father's Day, the couple's official page shared a simple picture. In it, Prince William stood barefoot on a beach, laughing freely, while Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis clung to him with pure joy. The moment was raw and tender, accompanied by a handwritten note from the kids. "We love you, Papa. Happy Father's Day, G, C, and L." No press release, no royal seal, just honest love, quietly shared but speaking volumes. Flashback to early 2024, when Kate took a brave step, sitting quietly in a corner of Windsor to record a video that soon touched hearts worldwide. She didn't speak as royalty, but as a woman, a mother navigating her most vulnerable season. "William has been my rock," she said, her voice calm but clearly worn. "His presence has brought me peace in what's been anything but easy." Those few words said more than any lengthy speech. No theatrics, no embellishment, just truth and a glimpse into the private struggles shadowing them. Her mid-June update carried cautious hope. Though treatment would continue for months, she shared, "Some days are better. I find comfort in the everyday moments, school runs, helping with homework, slowly easing back into some work from home," she said. She didn't try to appear invincible. She didn't cast herself as a hero. She simply allowed herself to be real. Meanwhile, William stayed the quiet guardian. He returned to official duties, attended events, shook hands, smiled softly. Behind every polite nod and warm greeting was a man carrying the weight of love and worry. When asked, "How's Kate? How are the kids?" he always gave the same reply, "We're doing okay." That was it. But it was enough, because in his calm voice there was always a flicker of emotion in his eyes, a softness that spoke of sleepless nights and tender mornings. Kate, in a message to the public, expressed deep gratitude. The kindness shown to them had been overwhelming. She wrote, "It has lifted our spirits more than we can say." It wasn't a political statement. It wasn't a polished thank you. It was simply a family saying, "We feel your love. We needed it. It helped." No fanfare, no stage, no plea for sympathy. Just grace in motion. A woman finding her strength again, and a man standing quietly beside her every step of the way. The world saw the photos. They read the statements. But it was the little things that spoke loudest. Their hands brushing, the ease in their shared glances, the protective way William guided her as they left the balcony. That small touch, his hand resting gently on the small of her back, might have gone unnoticed by most, but for those paying attention, it meant everything. It wasn't just affection. It was reassurance, a silent promise. We're still here together. "We've faced hard days," Kate once said, "but we found strength in each other." And on that golden afternoon, as the royal family slipped back behind the glass doors, those words lingered in the air like a soft perfume. They had walked through the shadows, hand in hand. And in that, maybe lies their greatest legacy, the love that holds the monarchy together. The morning was still wrapped in the soft colors of dawn. The sky over Kensington was just starting to shift from blue to gold, while the rooftops lay quiet beneath the hush only early morning brings. But inside those historic palace walls, the day was already stirring. Tiny footsteps echoed, laughter chimed, and the delighted shrieks of children filled the grand hallways, sounds unexpected in a place steeped in history. This wasn't just any morning, nor just a palace. It was a home pulsing with warmth and life. At the heart of it all stood Catherine, Princess of Wales, not draped in majesty or royal splendor, but in gentle stillness. Her hair tucked neatly behind her ears, a peaceful smile soft on her lips. She stood quietly just inside the doorway, watching her children move about. No fanfare, no ceremony, just her quiet grace and grounded resilience shining through. "She has this amazing way of making everything feel normal," shared a palace staffer who has served the family for over a decade. "Even when the world's watching, she brings it all back to the simple things. The palace walls rarely keep secrets for long, but this one broke them wide open, shocking the world." Catherine, Princess of Wales, was moved to tears as news of a hidden fourth child surfaced publicly. Behind her calm smile lay months, maybe even years, of quiet sacrifice and silent pain. No one was meant to know. "Not like this," a royal aide whispered. Now, with the eyes of the world fixed on her and the monarchy swirling in rumors, questions are louder than ever. Why the secrecy? And what has Kate given up to keep it hidden? This marks the subtle start of a royal transformation. It didn't arrive with fanfare or a grand announcement. No velvet cloak or shining crown marked the moment. It all began with a simple, unexpected craving: thin pickles on toasted brown bread. Back in early 2013, during her first pregnancy, Catherine, then Duchess of Cambridge, sought small comforts while the world obsessed over her every move. Away from the relentless press, in her private quarters, she fought a hidden battle inside her own body, a struggle that would reshape how the world sees royalty and motherhood. "I was very sick, terribly sick," Catherine later revealed in an emotional interview. The royal household recently confirmed what many suspected. Another baby might be on the way. As rumors spread through Buckingham Palace halls and the media ignited speculation, memories returned to that fragile start when Kate, newly part of the royal family, embraced her most humbling role yet, a first-time mom. Through it all, Prince William stood by her side without wavering. He looked so helpless, she shared. There was pain in his eyes. He wished he could take it away, but he couldn't. Her illness was hyperemesis gravidarum, a severe form of morning sickness that left her incapacitated for days, sometimes weeks. Even standing up brought waves of crushing nausea. Eating was a struggle. Moving felt unbearable. Still, she kept going. Even when I felt completely empty, my body carried a life that felt sacred, she whispered. In those weakest moments, she turned inward, searching for strength. What she found was hypnobirthing. It wasn't advice from royal counselors or some trending wellness fad. It was quiet, personal, and hers alone. People think it's William whispering encouragement, she laughed softly. But it was me, telling myself I could get through it. She embraced the practice fully, breathing differently, picturing her birth, calming her mind. Gradually, she rewrote the story in her head. Labor wasn't a hardship. It was her right. Experts like Naomi Wilson praised her bravery. Hypnobirthing helps women reclaim their birth experience. It teaches them to trust themselves again, she said. But despite that inner strength, the sickness lingered like a dark cloud. I wasn't glowing, Catherine admitted with a small shrug. I just got through it. What kept her going were the little pleasures, avocados, buttered toast, warm tea, and especially one thing, curry. Not just any curry, but a lovingly prepared vegetable blend from a small wellness shop in her hometown of Bucklebury. Owned by a warm-hearted couple, Chan and Hash Shanadia, the shop became a quiet refuge. She'd come in so softly, Hash remembered, always smiling, always thankful. She loved that curry. Sometimes her mom stopped by, sometimes her sister, but Kate always called it her little escape. That meal was more than just food. It was her comfort, a steady and familiar anchor amid the chaos. It was therapy. Picture this moment. A future queen curled up on a couch, spoon in hand, eyes closed over a bowl of warm spices and care. Far from flashing cameras and watching crowds, she was just a woman weathering a storm. And this raw, unfiltered side of her, that imperfect, genuine version, was what made millions connect with her. Over time, Catherine became known as someone unafraid to show her real self. She once admitted to re-wearing dresses at official events, not because she had to, but because she believed in it. I just don't like waste, she said with a small smile. That honesty, that humility, made her relatable. She was the Duchess who worried about her speeches, stressed over her kids, craved pickles more than diamonds, and openly spoke about the hidden struggles women endure during pregnancy. Pregnancy changes everything, she said during a talk on maternal health. It doesn't just affect the mother. It touches everyone. She spoke about how deeply William felt the weight of it all. She remembered hearing his footsteps pacing outside the bathroom, his awful jokes that distracted her when even water was unbearable, his steady hand in hospital hallways and waiting rooms. He couldn't fix it, but he never gave up trying. She said those months of exhaustion and fear transformed their relationship, not just as royals, but as equals and soulmates navigating the unknown together. Then came that unforgettable July day in 2013. Crowds lined up outside the hospital. Reporters shouted. Camera flashes popped like fireworks. But inside the Lindo wing, there was calm. A new mom, a proud dad, and their sleeping newborn son, Prince George, swaddled tight, his tiny face peaceful as he slept through the chaos. Catherine, still pale but glowing in a different way, stepped forward. She wasn't perfect. She wasn't putting on a show. She was real. and the world saw it. Gone were the days when royal women vanished through childbirth and returned untouched. She stood as living proof that motherhood, in all its raw honesty, belongs front and center, that women's stories deserve to be heard, and with that, she inspired countless mothers to share their own journeys. Now, as whispers about a fourth baby grow louder, fans wonder again, will Catherine turn to hypnobirthing? Will the sickness return? Will she open the door for the world to follow her path once more? No one knows what the future holds. But one thing is sure. Whether curled up with a bowl of curry or leaning on William through the hard times, she will face it with the same quiet strength and grace she always has. Because that's who she is. A duchess not just by title, but by courage. A mother not only in blood, but in resilience. A woman whose struggles have become her true crown. "Pregnancy wasn't always easy for me," she once said, a knowing smile playing on her lips. "But I'm grateful for who I became because of it." And in that simple, honest truth, there's something far more beautiful than any royal jewel. But what part did Prince William play in all this? When a prince becomes a father, dawn breaks gently over London, the sky a soft silver, as if the world itself is holding its breath. Inside Kensington Palace, soft golden sunlight filtered through linen curtains, casting gentle shadows on the ornate frames and polished wood, a quiet blessing almost withheld. But the air inside was heavy, not with peace, but with tension. In the master bedroom, Catherine, Princess of Wales, lay still beneath the linen covers. Her hand rested weakly on top of the quilt, her skin nearly translucent against the ivory fabric. Her lips were dry, her breathing shallow. Her eyes fluttered open and caught the faint outline of the wall clock. But time had lost all meaning. Her body wasn't just tired, it was overwhelmed by relentless waves of sickness, cruel and unpredictable. Every breath was a struggle, and this morning, the burden felt too heavy. "Forgive me," she whispered, barely audible. "I should be the one going." From the shadows, Prince William stood quietly, crossing to her side without a word. He gently brushed his hand across her forehead, a touch filled with tenderness and quiet concern. "He knows you'd be there if you could. That's enough for him today," he said softly. She nodded, blinking back the tears that threatened to fall. Outside the room, little Prince George waited in the hallway, dressed neatly in his new school uniform. His blazer fit perfectly on his small frame, his shoes polished, and his tie snug. But he lingered not for how he looked, but for the absence of his mom. "Mommy?" he called softly. As William stepped into view, George looked up, hopeful. "Is Mommy coming?" William knelt down to meet his son's eyes, placing a firm but gentle hand on his shoulder. "Mommy needs to rest today, but she really wanted to come, so it's just you and me, champ. Think we can handle that?" George hesitated, then nodded slightly. His wide eyes showed his nerves, but William smiled reassuringly. "As long as I'm holding your hand, you've got everything you need." With that, they stepped out. Just father and son, no fanfare, no guards, but quiet determination. The royal car hummed softly as it moved through the city. They took a discreet route, avoiding the crowds, but no amount of caution could keep the cameras away at Thomas's Battery. The car slowed to a stop. William stepped out first, smoothing his jacket with one hand and holding tightly to George's hand with the other. Immediately the clicking started, camera shutters, flashes, murmurs, but William remained steady. His whole world was right there beside him, small fingers gripping his own, eyes wide with cautious curiosity. Leaning down, William whispered, "It's okay to be nervous. I get nervous sometimes too, but you've got more courage than you know." George blinked and nodded. Together, they walked slowly through the gates. William let his son take a step ahead, giving him a small sense of independence while never letting go of his hand. When it was time to say goodbye, William crouched down again. No grand speech, just a few simple words that mattered. "You've got this. I'm already so proud of you." A teacher reached out, gently guiding George toward the school building. Just before he disappeared inside, George looked back one last time, eyes searching. William smiled and waved. "Go on," he mouthed. "I'll be right here when you're done." Later that afternoon, when reporters asked William about dropping George off, he let out a modest chuckle. "Honestly," he said, "there was another parent crying, and that actually made it a little easier for me. It was real, it was simple, it was human." Back at the palace, William returned to Catherine's side and recounted every detail. The strength of George's grip, the glance over his shoulder, the hesitant steps through the school gates. She listened closely, a faint smile touching her lips. "Was he brave?" she whispered. "Just like you," William replied, gently brushing her hair back. That day wasn't about royal duties, uniforms, or photo ops. It was about fatherhood, the quiet, steady kind, rooted in love. Later that year, in an interview, William shared something surprising. "I knew nothing about mental health," he admitted. "Not a thing. But Kate and I started realizing how important it really is, how big of an issue it actually is. We had to learn from scratch." It had been a busy few weeks for the new dad, but he'd finally sat down for his first interview since George's birth, and it was clear he was embracing fatherhood. They showed it not through flashy statements, but through deliberate actions, thoughtful talks, and a willingness to listen. After visiting a local school one afternoon, William came home visibly moved. "Some of those kids," he told a friend, "express their feelings better than most adults I know." That gave him hope and changed his perspective. He realized strength wasn't about being silent or stoic. It was about being whole, and he was determined to pass that lesson on to George, Charlotte, and Louis. At a football event, when asked about Charlotte, he chuckled, "She's got the kick already. Holding your hand one moment, sending the ball flying the next. She's got natural talent." Talking about having a daughter, he admitted, "I didn't grow up with sisters. Having Charlotte has opened my heart. It's different, but it's beautiful." That perhaps has always been Catherine's quiet superpower. Not in how she walks beside a future king or commands attention from a palace balcony, but in the way she nudges her kids awake with soft kisses, folds their tiny clothes with her own hands, and gently calls out each morning, "Time to get up, my loves." But recent months haven't been without storm clouds. One word, cancer, struck like lightning on a summer afternoon. Swift, jarring, cruel. It shattered the calm and rippled through the kingdom, the press, and the hearts of countless strangers who had come to admire her from afar. While many expected Catherine to step back, to retreat into stillness and silence, she did something completely different. She never once talked about stepping away, a close confidant revealed. Her first words were, "How can I be present for them through this?" It wasn't stubbornness. It was love in its purest form. Despite treatments that drained her and whispered talks behind closed doors, she chose again and again to stay fully present, for her husband, for her children, for the life they were quietly building together. "She never complains," a palace aide said softly, eyes gentle. "She just keeps going, for them, for her little ones." George, Charlotte, and Louis, known to the public as young royals, but to her, simply her heart. Not symbols or heirs, just kids with grass-stained pants, pillow fights, and bedtime giggles. And to Catherine, they are everything. No matter where she was, her eyes always sought them out. Her arms never hesitated, even when exhausted, Her heart never wavered, stretching wide enough to hold them all. But she wasn't alone in this. Standing beside her, not overbearing but solid, was William, the man the world calls the future king. But to her and to their children, he was simply a father, a partner, a friend. "Whatever happens outside these walls," he once said during a hospital visit, "my family is my anchor. They come first, always." And he's lived up to that promise. Not with grand speeches, but through quiet, steady acts of devotion. School drop-offs, midnight sicknesses, cheering from the sidelines at soccer games, whispering encouragement before dance recitals. He shows up. When George was born in July 2013, time seemed to pause. Cameras focused, the world leaned in. But William's world shrank to the tiny bundle in his arms. "It felt like everything else disappeared," he once told a close friend. 2 years later, on a crisp spring morning, Charlotte arrived, called the monarchy's darling, but to William, simply his daughter, who captured him with a single blink. Then came Louis in 2018, with a smile as mischievous as it was heartwarming. "He's quite the character," William joked. "Keeps us on our toes but fills our days with laughter." In a rare, candid moment, William admitted, "Becoming a dad changes you. You start seeing the world differently. Everything is about making it better for them." Now whispers swirl again. Quiet glances, subtle touches. Is another child on the way? No confirmations, no big announcements, just the language of touch. William's hand resting instinctively on Catherine's back, her fingers brushing her belly with gentle care. "You see it?" a seasoned royal photographer said. "It's in the way they share looks, like there's a secret blooming between them." Maybe there is. Catherine continues to handle royal duties with grace. Galas, charity work, all carried out with calm poise. But it's in the quiet moments, the everyday spaces, where her true light shines. When she parts Charlotte's hair with practiced fingers, ties Louis's shoes carefully, or leans in to help George with tough homework, that's where her brilliance lives. She never wanted the spotlight, a family confidant shared. It's always been about the kids, their dreams, their peace. William, too, shows his real self in life's smallest moments, crouching to listen to Charlotte's stories, spinning Louis around just to hear his infectious laugh, walking beside George at his own pace, not rushing but matching his steps. These aren't moments staged for the cameras. They're the heart of their family. Their moments are raw, honest, and rooted in love. And maybe that's their greatest legacy. In a home steeped in centuries of tradition and weighed down by royal expectations, William and Catherine have created something rare and real, not a spectacle, but a family. The world may admire them for their lineage, the tiaras, the rituals, and inherited power, but what people truly cherish is their humanity. The way William watches his children with wonder, the way Catherine's fingers gently hold theirs, and how they've transformed a palace into a place of tenderness, a sanctuary where love speaks louder than legacy. So, if there is indeed a new baby on the way, it won't just be another headline. It will be one more heartbeat to cherish, another source of joyful chaos, a new voice in bedtime stories, and a fresh pair of hands to hold during morning cuddles. And once again, curious eyes will peer through Kensington's towering windows. But what those eyes will see won't be a pageant or a symbol of royal pomp. They'll see a family wrapped in laughter and bound together by devotion. That said, one detail has sparked much curiosity: the timing and way the news was shared. Will the public continue to support Kate, or will criticism begin? Kate's healing journey and whispers of a fourth child stirred deep emotions. It was March, and the world stood still. The Princess of Wales sat before a simple backdrop, her voice calm, her gaze soft but determined. "In January, I underwent major abdominal surgery in London," she shared. "At the time, it was believed my condition was non-cancerous. However, tests after the operation showed cancer was present. My medical team advised that I undergo preventative chemotherapy, and I am now in the early stages of treatment." This wasn't just a royal statement. It was the voice of a mother, a wife, and a woman who had spent over a decade in the public eye. In that moment, Catherine wasn't just a princess. She was every woman who's ever been blindsided by a diagnosis and forced to face uncertainty with grace. Then came the whispers, soft at first, hesitant. Could there be another child? A fourth heartbeat to join George, Charlotte, and Louis? For some, the idea was shocking. For others, it was tender. But it spread across headlines, sparking both hope and criticism. This wasn't the Kate of 10 years ago. This was a woman enduring chemotherapy, balancing motherhood, royal duties, and the delicate act of maintaining privacy in the public eye. Still, the question lingered. If Catherine were to have a fourth child, it would be a deeply personal decision, said royal commentator Emily Andrews. It's not about the crown or tradition, it's about healing, family, and legacy within the royal household. Such a birth would alter the line of succession. Prince George would remain second in line after his father, William, followed by Princess Charlotte, then Prince Louis. A fourth child would slot in fifth, ahead of Prince Harry and his children. Another twist in the already complex modern monarchy. But as palace insiders murmured, this wouldn't be about titles or ranks, it would be about completeness. But what kind of child would they be? If it's a boy, biographer Katie Nicole speculated, he might inherit William's quiet charisma or Kate's grounded warmth. If a girl, maybe she'll carry Diana's gentleness paired with her mother's poise. Either way, this child would grow up surrounded by love, not just royal duty. Royal watchers debated everything, from looks to personality traits. Would this child have George's sense of responsibility, Charlotte's quiet confidence, Louis's playful spark, or something entirely new? Perhaps a unique magic that only a fourth child born amid crisis could bring. One insider shared, "Kate once said her children are her heart. If she decides to have another, it would be a powerful sign that hope still lives in her, despite everything she's faced." But not everyone greeted the news warmly. Critics quickly took to social media, questioning the timing. "She just finished chemo. How is this safe?" one post read. "Is this responsible?" asked another. The criticism was sharp and unforgiving. Yet in the same digital space, love blossomed. Supporters rallied with compassion. "If anyone can decide what's best for her body, it's Kate," one mother wrote. "She's strong and deserves happiness." Another added, "After all she's been through, if she wants another child, that should be celebrated, not questioned." Doctors, too, offered cautious optimism. "Chemotherapy can affect fertility long-term," said oncology specialist Dr. Hannah Wilcox. "But it's not definitive. Every woman's body reacts differently. With proper care and time, it's not impossible." Kate, ever quiet about her struggles, never addressed the rumors directly. But those close to her noticed a subtle change. She was smiling more, walking farther, laughing louder with her children. "William, always the watchful protector, seemed calmer too," said a palace aide. "It's like they're standing at the edge of something beautiful. There's a calm about them, not because the storm's passed, but because they've found a rhythm in the chaos." For William, a fourth child would mean more than just a new family member. It would be a second chance. The trauma of losing his mother at such a young age never left him. "He wants to be the parent Diana wanted to be," said friend Tom Bradby, present, loving, and human. To raise a child born in the wake of pain, beneath global headlines and personal trials, would be his quiet redemption. As summer faded, Kate was spotted once again holding Louis's hand in a park. Her smile was lighter, her scarf carefully wrapped around her hair. Reporters noticed her glow, and the public leaned in, wondering. Nothing was confirmed. Nothing denied. And maybe that's exactly how it should be. If there is a child, author Ingrid Seward said, let the world hear when they're ready to share, not a moment before. Behind these tender scenes lies a heavier burden for William, the real test of whether he can carry it with the same grace he shows at home. That day by the shore, the wind played mischievously, tugging at hair, ruffling clothes, whistling like a child at play. Waves rhythmically lapped at their feet. But it wasn't the ocean stealing the show. All eyes were on Prince William, the heir to the British throne, holding the hands of his 3 children as they leapt into the salty air, perfectly in sync. Their laughter echoed across the coastline. The photo Catherine took in the summer of 2024 for William's birthday was much more than just a keepsake. It was a glimpse into the heart of a father. No royal attire, no grand palace backdrop, just nature, raw and real, and the pure joy shining from his face. A simple, authentic moment of fatherhood. One viewer said, "This is the most beautiful royal photo I've ever seen. No diamonds, just devotion." For William, moments like this weren't new. They were just rarely shared with the public. As far back as 2016, William opened up in a heartfelt interview. "Yes, I was born a prince," he said. "But before all that, I'm a dad. My greatest goal is to raise kind, compassionate kids." He wasn't seeking applause. His words came from deep inside, a genuine commitment to being present, hands-on, emotionally grounded. Unlike many monarchs before him, William doesn't separate his royal duties from parenting. He blends them naturally. "People might forget my speeches or awards," he once said quietly, "but my kids won't forget if I was there when they needed me, and I am always there." During an informal visit to Woodgate Valley Urban Farm, he casually mentioned they have guinea pigs at home. When asked who takes care of them, he smiled. "Honestly, that's me doing the cleaning. They're high-maintenance pets, but I don't mind. Even future kings get their hands dirty." Back in July 2013, spectators at a cricket game noticed William sitting with Prince George. No security crowding them, no posed smiles, just a dad and son sharing pizza, cracking jokes, reacting naturally to the game. A woman nearby said, "They were just like any father and son." That authenticity is what William works hard to protect, not just for George, but for Charlotte and little Louis too. In a candid interview with British GQ, he said, "I want my kids to grow up in the real world, not behind palace gates, where laughter drowns out camera clicks." There was steel in his voice, a clear message from a father on a mission. Behind that determination is a deeper influence, his late mother, Princess Diana. Known for being hands-on, kneeling to kids' level, embracing AIDS patients, spinning through palace halls with her sons, William carries her spirit with him. At the big help-out event during King Charles III's coronation, William didn't just pose for photos. He brought Louis along, and the two were spotted operating an excavator together, a young prince handling heavy machinery next to his dad. A volunteer later said, "That wasn't for the cameras. It was a father teaching a life lesson. Give back, get involved, don't be afraid to dig deep." Those lessons carry on in their daily lives. At bedtime, after the day's noise fades, William reads to Louis. One favorite book is Homewards, the story of a boy helping a homeless woman. But for William, it's more than just a story. He once said, "If I can teach my son to truly feel empathy, then I've succeeded." His voice cracked just a bit, proof of how deeply he meant it. It's these quiet, tender rituals that hold their family together, not fancy events or grand banquets, but sandy toes, laughter over pizza, muddy paws, and bedtime stories. Still, life in the spotlight comes with constant challenges. The press doesn't always respect their boundaries. William has spoken out against that, especially when it threatens his kids' privacy. "They're not performers," he said firmly in a rare media statement. "They deserve a chance to be kids, to make mistakes, to grow up without being on display." When the pressure mounts, he doesn't retreat into royal walls. Instead, he leads his family outdoors, to wild spaces, to laughter and freedom, where they can simply be themselves. That's why that beach photo meant so much. It wasn't about the location or the occasion. It reflected William's truest self. "He's raising his kids with freedom," a royal expert said, "but also with values that ground them." William doesn't parade his role as a dad, he just lives it. One overlooked moment captures this perfectly. During a school run, a photographer caught William kneeling beside Louis, fixing his collar and whispering something in his ear. Louis beamed with a big grin. The photo quietly carried the caption, "Tomorrow's king, today's father." William never pretends to be perfect. He jokes about his flaws, does the chores no one sees, and stands steady through life's storms. His future kingdom may be vast, and his list of titles may grow. But when asked what matters most, he's already given the only answer that counts. "More than anything, I want my kids to know they're loved." And by all accounts, they do. What do you think? How will Beatrice react when the truth about the paternity comes out? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Before you go, be sure to click the video on your screen.